how are they going to raise all the tax they need? And the they in this case is a collective pronoun, as both of the theys will have the same problem. How are they going to raise the money they need to spend what they're going to have to spend? Now, both Labour and the Tories have said they won't be raising income tax, national insurance or VAT, and will make sure that those famous hard-working families are no worse off than they would have been or were in some mythical halcyon day. So what taxes are left from which they can raise any of the money they're both going to need to keep the show on the road, let alone to make anything any better? Well, capital gains tax, yes, but even if they double the rates and get rid of all the allowances, they're nearly there already, that won't even scratch the surface of an NHS waiting list, I'd say. Inheritance tax, well, they were talking about abolishing that, weren't they? Raising it, reducing the allowances again, maybe, but not a popular move for the blue wallers, as they call them, those with houses in Surrey worth more than most of the current allowances. Another old favourite is pension tax relief. Well, if they get rid of that, how's that going to help to bridge the savings gap, stop millions of future pensioners having to rely on the state? So if they do go for that, it might just be the higher rate tax relief, and that really wouldn't fill more than a few potholes on your local A road. No, what they're all focusing on is the old favourite, cracking down on the tax dodgers, which I think you'll find has been in everyone's manifesto for time immemorial, or at least the last 30 years. And that is, I'm sorry, just more nonsense. If they target those rich tax-avoiding fat cats, which they often try to do, they're more than likely going to be tied up in court, fighting their fancy lawyers for years, and end up with not much at the end of it. What they've often done in the past is to go for the low-hanging fruit, as you might call it, which are usually cash businesses, although there are less and less of those these days. But in the past, they've targeted barbers and hairdressers, fish and chip shops, and of course builders, which in the end doesn't actually raise much money and probably targets exactly those struggling, hard-working families they're supposed to be helping. So what's the answer? Well, the answer really is raising income tax, national insurance and VAT, which, if it meant a functioning NHS, could still be a vote winner. The trouble is, who'd ever believe them? I think that's called not a tax gap, but a credibility gap.